About a sort of worryingly long list of actions the new administration has taken that just happen to benefit the president's top campaign donor. Everything from cutting the competition for Elon Musk's EV charging stations to firing investigators who were looking into his refusal to reveal his contacts with foreign governments. Well, today the New York Times is out with new reporting that makes that list a whole lot longer and may help explain even more of some of the inexplicable firings and shutdowns that the administration seems to have prioritized in these first 3 weeks that they've been in power. For instance, we've talked here on the show about how Trump has hamstrung agencies that deal with workers' rights, including the National Labor Relations Board and the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission. Why did he go after those agencies? Well, he fired top officials at those agencies and didn't replace them. That makes it impossible for those agencies to do their job. Why did he do that? Why do we understand why that got a priority action from this administration? Well, I don't know, but the Times reports today that those agencies are handling 24 workers' rights investigations and at least one big lawsuit alleging racial harassment at Elon Musk's companies. In similar fashion, Trump has also fired FEC Commissioner Ellen Weintraub, Federal Elections Commission. That effectively shuts down the FEC, which polices campaign finance violations. It may be helpful to know that that's the same FEC that was overseeing complaints from this last election about Elon Musk giving people $1 million checks to, quote, encourage voter registration. A lottery that he held, even though it is illegal to pay people to register to vote. Last week, we brought you the story of Phyllis Fong, the Inspector General for the Department of Agriculture. She was fired by Donald Trump. You might remember her story. After she was fired, nevertheless showed up to work the next day anyway, saying my firing was illegal and so I'm going to work, and marched her out of the office, apparently. Well, it turns out in 2022, Phyllis Fong, quote, opened an investigation into Elon Musk's brain implant startup company, Neuralink, stemming from allegations that Musk's company had, quote, mistreated dozens of test monkeys. Mistreatment that Elon Musk himself denies. Why was it so important to fire the Inspector General of USDA as one of your first actions? Well, I don't know, but that's what she was doing to bother Elon Musk. Trump has also fired the head of the Office of Government Ethics. That is the agency tasked with investigating right now whether or not the Doge project is itself a conflict of interest for Elon Musk. Again, we don't know what is motivating or setting the priority list for this new administration in its first 3 weeks, but there is a lot of overlap between the administration has done and what you might imagine is a wish list for the president's top campaign donor, who's been allowed to essentially have his way with the federal government, including a lot of elements of the federal government that were complicating his business life or cramping his style. Joining us now is Eric Lipton, investigative reporter at the New York Times, lead byline on that investigation into Elon Musk's companies and their interactions with these agencies that have been hamstrung and attacked by the administration. Mr. Lipton, I appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
So I spotlighted some of the things that you reported today in the Times. Let me ask if I misconstrued any of those or if there are any other examples that you turned up that you feel like our audience should know about.
What we did was we sort of examined the breadth of Elon Musk operations across the federal government, and there are so many pending investigations, lawsuits, inquiries, and we looked at how many of them had been disrupted, and we were quite surprised at how many cases we saw where, we don't know, we never saw any evidence of Musk explicitly reaching in and, using his clout or powers to stop any particular investigation. But what we saw was that again and again, agencies that are targeting his companies have now had significant disruptions. The inspector generals, the quorums are gone. They can't therefore process any potential new lawsuits or settlements. And it just shows you how never before have we had a situation where someone has basically $13 billion worth of federal contracts over the last 5 years, $3.8 billion just in 2024. and at the same time has, you know, dozens of ongoing investigations, that same person would be given such incredible clout over the federal government. And that is a conflict of interest. And now we're seeing the implications of that, where there are more than dozens of investigations that have been potentially disrupted because of the broad disruption that's happening in the federal government. And that's something that we really felt we needed to drill down on and understand and identify as many cases as possible where these disruptions have occurred. And that's what we published in today's paper.
Yeah, and I mean, I know I'm just sort of cheerleading for your
Just
reporting
got a
here,
short
but the
message
examples
with a
that you
picture of
found and
his
that you
the
document are
backseat of
really
the
blunt.
car
I mean, you say that you didn't find.
that he sent and said, suspended from school for the day. And he's only 3 years old.
Oh, jeez. Shall we tell his grandpa?
Who?
Nathan?
Nathan? Oh, yeah.
Trickle down lunacy, maybe.
I'll forward it to you.
Oh my gosh.